Career Trail, your success journey begins here.
Last week, we premiered the 12th episode of the Career Trail New Edition, taking a deep dive into the early life of the CEO of Roverman Productions, Uncle Ebo Whyte.
They came up with 8 very serious charges. If you read those charges, you wouldn't want to talk to me because it portrayed a picture of the biggest rogue ever.
Stay tuned as we bring you part 2 of that interview where he opens up about life after being dismissed from his second job, a turning point that shaped the rest of his journey.
You don't want to make trouble for anybody, okay? And then, unfortunately for you, human beings being who they are, whilst you are trying to do the best you can do in your own little way, somebody also sees in that a threat and has the power to decide to get rid of you. You know, what had happened was that I had traveled abroad, I had gone to the US, met some of the principals of the company, and they were so impressed with me that they wrote to Ghana and said, "We have met you, Mr. Whyte. Why have you kept him from us? From now on, let him be the one who comes to represent you at our annual meetings, stakeholder meetings." And somebody decided, what? One trip abroad and they are saying this about him. What would they do next? So, next out. Got a board of very responsible people to take a decision. And the lesson there, I'm just narrating these stories without talking about the lessons and things like that. But the lesson there for me in Ghana is that you don't need to be a bad person to be in trouble in Ghana. You know, many of us think that if you hear that somebody has been arrested, oh, he's a bad person. If you hear that somebody has been fired, oh, he must have done something wrong. Especially when you hear the names behind the action. It is very easy to say, oh, no, so-and-so, if then the person must be very, very bad. Otherwise, because so-and-so we know, he wouldn't have. But I learned that you don't have to be a crook to be treated like a crook in Ghana and to be given a bad name. And also, some of the people with respectable names take advantage of that name. Nobody will challenge their decisions to perpetuate a lot of injustice and cause a lot of pain for people. These are things I learned through my own experience.
Sure. Now let's take on from there. So now after the firing, what happened to you, or where did you go to?
I was home for 1.5 years. I have always run a single income home. So it means that with me out of a job, because it was like that, there was no source of income for the home. And yet, my household and I had more to eat when I was home than when I was working. It looked like there was somebody who had a camera into our kitchen and could tell when we were running out of food. And we'll wake up and there will be food at the door. There'll be rice, oil, and things like that left at the door. That happened for 1.5 years.
Is it a miracle? You never saw who?
And this was a house with a security. It was a gated house with a security. I would ask him, "Brahma, who brought this?" He said, "I know him."
Wow.
The first Christmas I was home, I remember waking up that morning and said, "Lord, when I was working, no chicken we will have chicken. But now that I'm home and we don't have money, what's going to happen this Christmas?" just as I finished praying, my wife runs in and said, well, come and see. Come. Drags me outside. There was a tree in the compound, and tied to the tree was the biggest sheep, white sheep I ever saw.
That is a miracle sheep.
So I called Brahma again. Brahma, who bring him? I said, Master, I know see him. It's the only time my household and I have had sheep for Christmas.
But weren't you scared?
Come again?
You ate it. Weren't you scared eating it?
Scared of what? Say it, bro. No, that did not even cross my mind.
Oh, interesting. So that happened.
We slaughtered it and shared it with us, other families that we knew, because it was big. It was too much for us, so we shared it with quite a lot of people.
Oh, okay, all right. So after the 1.5 years, what happened? Did you get a job? Or
yes, I
got
a job working for my junior in secondary school. He had been given a contract, an accounting contract, with a company, and he needed somebody to supervise it. And so when he heard I was available, I was home, he approached me and said, if you wouldn't mind, because I was his SP in school. So he had a lot of difficulty offering me, coming to say, can I offer you a job? But I needed it. So that is the first thing I did after 1.5 years. And then after that, Mrs. Afenyi Dazi introduced me to her husband. And I owe that couple, Mr. Katie Dazi and Mrs. Afenyi Dazi, a whole lot, because they look beyond the record. I remember when I met the man, I told him, this is my history. I was fired from my last job. The case is in court. If the court rules that I'm guilty of the charges, I would tender in my resignation so that you wouldn't have to fire me.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. And that was it. So got to work with Mr. Katie Dazi and Gifty Afenyi Dazi with their company, First African Group Limited. That had, in those days, I think we had 6 forest bureaus, and then the remittance company. So I worked there as the head of finance and administration. Then they treated me very well. I enjoyed working with Mr. Katie Dazi. Ghana has some very good people, and they are very low profile. And Mr. Dazi is one of them. I learned a lot from him. And then from there, Kenafama came knocking. So I worked with Kenafama as a general manager for Kenafama with Mr. Kofi Nsiapoku and his wife, Florence Nsiapoku. Again, I think I was fortunate with them. Kofi treated me so well. And with time, my relationship with him moved from employer-employee to brothers. So even now, I left his employ late 1990s, but even now, on my 70th birthday, he insisted he was coming to the celebration whether he had been invited or not. And he came and said, my brother is 70. No, nothing will hold me back, and nothing will keep me away. And working with Kofi Nsia, I think, is the reason why I can run my own business now, because I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot on how to run a business in Ghana, working with him as general manager. So I had front row seat to how he operated.
Oh, okay.
And that taught me a lot. So I owe a lot to those two people I worked with, Katie Dazi, Gifty Afenyi Dazi, and Kofi Nsiapoku and Auntie Florence.
Wow. Okay. So at what point did Roverman Productions start?
Roman Productions has always had been niggling at the back of my mind. I had tried to do commercial theater. I knew as far back as 1976 that I was going to do theater, that this is my calling. I knew without a shadow of doubt that this is my calling. And so that at that time, there was no way of knowing how it could be viable. So I did all kinds of things, whilst also trying my hands at theater. I was the artistic director for a small drama group called J Theatre, which belonged to the Youth for Christ ministry. Youth for Christ International had a Ghana branch, and they had a theater company, and I was the artistic director for that. And so that is where I learned to write. That's why I learned to direct and things like that. I had gone into that group as an actor.
Oh, so you started as an actor?
I started as an actor. My encounter with theater was as an actor in secondary school.
Oh.
You know, and a mate of mine, an orchestra who is deceased now, seeing my interest in theater, then said, oh, after secondary school, said, oh, there is this theater company in town called J Theatre. You may want to explore. So I went in there as an actor, but within 3 months, found myself inheriting the group because the leader of the group had been transferred from Accra to Tamale and decided that he wanted to hand over the group to me. It was a stunning group with about 40, 45 young people that met every week, every Sunday. So I inherited this group, and they did not have suitable plays. But they would come to rehearsals every Sunday. So to keep them occupied, I started writing. That is how I became a playwright. No, and then, so I did that for 11 years, whilst holding all these other jobs, whilst working with First African Group Limited, whilst doing all those things. And then at a certain point, decided, I think I felt this challenge right deep that I should work in the area of my gifting and not the area of my training.
Oh, okay.
The voice that spoke to me said, a lot of people work with their certificates, with their training. But real fulfillment and real success comes when you work in the area of your gifting. And so I made 2 attempts to try to get this commercial theater going. The first one, I took a loan from my boss then, and it took me 2 years to pay because the production did not work. The second, so that took me another 2 years to recover, to, as it were, find my feet again. And made the second attempt. That on that occasion, I was using a new Skoda Octavia, white. I sold it to finance the production. The car did not come back. It was on the 3rd try that I broke even. Did not make money, did not make anything. But for the first time, I did not also make a loss. But the first 2 were total disasters. But again, coming back from the 2 disappointments and this one that did not make money, I was totally discouraged. It took me another 2 years to pick myself up, and it happened in a very strange way. I had gone to a church that meets at Osu Children's Home to preach. And after the service, when I was driving out, just as I got out of the gate of the Osu Children's Home, an idea for a play began to
ring in your head.
In my mind, and it was almost as if a tap had been opened. So I drove to a friend's office and started writing it. That is the play that became Unhappy Wives, Confused Husbands. Now, this was on the back of the 3 failed attempts. So I finished writing that play in about 3 days, because the ideas were just
coming.
The challenge was keeping up with the ideas that were coming through. So I finished, and of course, at that time, I was totally broke. So buried it. I had no hope of producing it. And then my friend, and partner then, he's called Charles Recon, whose office, I was sharing an office with him. It was his office, and he had given me a little space to work from, because I was trying to set up something. Mr. Recon comes to work one day. This is about a week after the play was ready. And goes, Mr. Whyte, will you play at check? Why? Mr. Whyte, you haven't done a play in a long time. Why? Because he had watched 2 of those failed productions and had been excited by them and did not understand why those plays did not work. And then I told him, Mr. Recon, it's money. He said, how much? I said, a lot of money. I couldn't tell him how much. And then he laughed, went to his drawer, took his checkbook, and wrote me an amount of 5,000 Ghana cedis and said, here, go and do a play. That was in 2008. With that money, he didn't know I had a play. He didn't know I had a play. Without money, I told him, I'm going to National Theatre. I said, National Theatre? Okay, we'll change. Wait. Art Center, which was the venue for my first play, failed play, capacity 450, 500, Anyeye. Christ the King, which was the second attempt, capacity 600, 650, and also Anyeye. Banquet Hall, which was the third attempt, capacity about 800 people, and also Anyeye. And also National Theatre. National Theatre, 5,500. I said, well, Mr. Recon, I believe the Spirit of God says I should go to the National Theatre. So, okay. He backed off immediately. Okay, all right. If you say God is speaking to you, go on. So I went to National Theatre, knowing I had the 5,000. Asked for the 6th of September. This was 2008. And I asked the person in charge and said, can you please check and see if 6th of September is available? It was. I said, can you book it for me? And as he opened the book and took his pencil to write my name against the day, I could hear this voice, clear. He said, tell him you will do two shows a day. Now, remember, I had 3 failed productions. So
and you want to do 2 shows a day?
2 shows a day. So I didn't have the confidence to tell him that. So I told him, boss, do you charge extra if somebody wants to do two shows a day? He stopped writing and looked at me and said, Uncle, but don't tell me you want to do 2 shows. Because there's a reason nobody does it. It won't work. I said, you haven't answered my question. My question is, do you charge extra? He said, well, because we know it won't work, we won't charge you extra.
They'll do it for free.
Come again?
They'll do it for free.
Yeah, 2 shows, because we know it won't work. So, okay, then please, can you indicate that I'll do 2 shows on the 6th of September? Okay, well, all right, okay. So he books it. 6th September 2008 was a Saturday. By the Thursday before that Saturday, all tickets for both shows were sold.
At this point, you should be calling you a prophet. Don't you think so?
No, I'm not. I'm not. All tickets for the first show, for the second show, sold out. Come the day, we didn't sell a single ticket at the gate because it had all been sold out. For the first show, we turned away over 300 people who had turned up without tickets. For the second show, we turned away about 800 people who had turned up dressed to watch a show, but they hadn't bought their ticket, and we had to tell them, we don't have ticket, you have to go. You know, I learned a lesson. Say Yankopon mredra oye mane yefe. When God's time is ripe, he makes it amazing. It's always amazing. Many of us struggle, and we are restless, and we are stressed because we're trying to make something happen when God's time is not right. It's not right. You know, in life, if you are not patient, you would make a lot of mistakes, and you would wear yourself out. You know, you wear yourself out making things happen, and they are not happening because the time is not right. But if you could have the patience to wait for the right time, when the right time comes, it's always amazing. And you can't explain it. It's just that the right time has come. The time had come. And so...
How was the feeling like?
Oh, I don't think I can put it in words. I know, I don't think anybody can describe it. Seeing the National Theatre, and that was the first time National Theatre had been filled for a production. The first time ever. All 3 levels of the National Theatre packed. All 3 levels. With people standing at the gate because they couldn't believe that the place was full, so they were waiting. You know, the Ghana, people do all kinds of things, so they think that, oh, Omobwa, the place is not full, but they want to raise and make us pay more.
Yeah.
You know, they will come and say, double the rate and say that, oh, and then, so they were waiting. Some people waited to the end of the show. But the fact is that it was full. There was no room.
Wow.
And the cast I used that day were not professionals. Many of them were going on stage for the very first time.
You don't say.
Untrained people. Because when I decided on the 4th attempt, Roverman,
lots of them
I decided I wasn't going to go for, I was going to start on a clean slate. I didn't need any professionals. I didn't need any people who had done this before. I was launching out into the deep, and I was going to do this with a clean sheet. So the cast of, there were a cast of 9. None of them was a professional actor.
Wow. This looks like a movie.
And all those 9 people are still with me.
Interesting.
Yes, after 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that play was the
Unhappy Wife,
Confused Husband.
Yes.
So after that play, I believe it opened doors for...
It opened doors. It opened doors. Subsequent productions worked well. At least there was a certain acceptance in the marketplace that he knows how to tell stories. His shows are good, they are interesting, and they would be a blessing to you. Plus, I also bound myself to certain principles.
Okay.
I will not start any show late. So for the 17 years that I've been doing this, 4 shows a week, 4 productions a quarter for the 17 years, 62 plays in the 17 years. We haven't started one show late, ever.
Don't do the GMT. Ghana man time. Never.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. At any rate, are these not the same Ghanaians who go abroad and they are never late? You understand me?
Yeah.
So, but I had learned a lot. I think the 3 failures had helped me. My being fired from my job had taught me a lot. It taught me you have nothing to prove to anybody. Don't listen. Nobody's opinion of you matters. Don't live your life to please anyone. Because the company that fired me, there was a whole community around that company, and we all tried to live up to the expectations of everybody. Then I realized, hey, in life you don't have to live up to the expectations of anyone.
Next week on the Career Trail.
I can't explain why the spirit of Ghana is like that. We don't want to see a Ghanaian prospering. We don't want to see a Ghanaian doing well.
The Career Trail. Your success journey begins here.